Hello and welcome to The Last Video Store, the show where I, Alexi Toliopoulos, talk to cool, funny, interesting, exciting people about their favorite movies, and we do so in the style of an old school video store rental combo. That is one new release title, two all-time favorites from the weekly section of the video store, and then it is my job as the video store clerk, the guru of cinema, to give our guest a recommendation based on their taste, a staff pick reco, if you will. And joining me on the show today, I throw around this term soldier of cinema a lot, but the person we've got on the show today truly is a soldier of Australian cinema. JOHN POLSON, filmmaker, actor, but maybe most importantly for this show and what we do on this show, which is helping people discover films. He is the founder of Tropfest, the biggest short film festival, an absolute event for Australians in film. Important to me is to go through it with my friends, to go see all these short films in like such huge audiences. But, you know, lots of people we've had on the show, Nash Edgerton, etc., have come through the Tropfest system. Producer M, how you feeling having JOHN POLSON on?
Awesome. I was a huge fan of Tropfest as well. It hasn't been around for the last few years, which is such a shame. Spoiler alert, it is coming back.
Yes, spoiler alert for the episode, for the press releases you may have read. Yeah.
But yeah, I used to wait till the DVD would come in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with it. And I would watch every single film and watch it because I don't think I ever. No, once as a teenager, I definitely went to see the actual festival.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't get the choice to go to do that kind of stuff.
Mum, Dad, can we drive somewhere?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I can't do anything.
No, I just got the DVD in the newspaper and I just loved it. It is such a cool concept and executed so well. So I'm so glad it's coming back.
Oh, I'm so happy it's coming back. It's just fun. It's exciting to see new voices come through. I in an op shop like a couple of months ago, I found the compiled DVD of like heaps of the short films.
Like winners and stuff like that.
Winners and stuff.
Yeah.
And I sent it to one of my best friends, Craig Anderson, who made a film called Life in a Datsun with his friend and our friend Brian Moses. That one Tropfest years ago, and just sending the photo going like, hey, your film's on this. And then all my buddies and stuff were like, oh my God, in our little movie group chat going, oh my God, I can't believe we got the Tropfest like big DVD. So really excited to have JOHN POLSON on. Also, the guy's in freaking Mission Impossible 2. He's in The Dry. He's great in The Dry. But also filmmaker, swim fan, and Hide and Seek starring Dakota Fanning and Robert De Niro.
I love that. I had the same experience as you as a kid. Spoiler for the episode again.
Yeah.
I loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah.
I feel like it must have come out at the right time for us
Dude,
to
we're like 13 or 14. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it scared me so much. I need to rewatch actually.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to chucking it back on again. So I remember watching it with my mum. I talk about with him in the episode coming up. We talk about directing De Niro. We talk about directing Dakota Fanning. It relates to one of his picks. So stay tuned for that. But that movie just really scared the shit out of me.
Me too.
And I really was so glad to finally talk to him about it. Couple more things about Tropfest, because we know we've got a lot of people that are watching and listening to The Last Video Store that are young or emerging filmmakers. Tropfest, it hasn't been around for 6 years. So it coming back gives you a chance to re-enter this scene. There's a lot of support for young filmmakers through Tropfest. And basically, you make a short film about a theme. There's like a themed object. This year, it's Hourglass. And you submit it. And the submissions open December 1st. So if you've got a film ready, you can submit it from then. And February 22nd is the actual Tropfest day. So you've got a little bit of time to do it. We're trying to get this episode out a little bit early so people that are in the Last Video Store community that want to make a short film can do so for Tropfest.
Wouldn't that be cool if a Last Video Store fan got selected?
Please put me in the special thanks.
Yes.
Please, me and Em, a special thanks.
Please.
We'll EP the movie in name only. We'll give you our credibility for doing so. But I'm dying to get into this chat. We talk about so much good stuff, so many great films. And honestly, to just give a little tee up, I reckon this is the best recommendation I've ever done. And I played off quite low key in the episode, but it's so on point between his favorite movies that I was shocked he hadn't seen the film.
You nailed it.
But it's such a great film as well. Really, the film that I recommend, everyone love it. I'm sorry holding a little tissue in my hand watching the video. I spilled something earlier and I wiped it up and it's been in my hand for the whole episode. You'll see it throughout the episode. I'm holding a little tissue. But let's get into our chat with one of Australia's great soldiers of cinema. And I do use that term a lot, but I only use it when I mean it. Today is one of those times. And before we go any further, we have a little announcement that we needed to make.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Me too, because we are going to be announcing our Employee of the Month right now. As you all know, there's an initiative we've been doing on our Instagram, also on the comments on Spotify and YouTube, of wanting to find out what you, the dear listener, would recommend the guest as a staff pick. And I'm going to announce our first Employee of the Month.
Yay!
There's been so many great recommenders. And I would say, if you're not the first Employee of the Month, you will be an Employee of the Month eventually, because
we guarantee it.
I guarantee it, because there's been so many good people doing it, so many good recommendations, so many films that I've been introduced to from doing it as well. And so it was very hard to pick. But I came down on the Max Miller episode to one comment, and I was like, fuck, this is better than what I recommended. I go, this is actually a better recommendation.
Humble pie.
I ate some humble pie, and I'm going to share it with you all now. So the winner of our first Employee of the Month is 2025 in 25. Also a great Instagram account where he reviews current films in 25 words or less and gives a recommendation on the back of that too. So he's a professional recommender these days as well. And he said, one of my favorite guest picks so far. Such a good choice. I'd got a great one for this. Sonatine by Takeshi Kitano. It's got a bit of each of those films' flavor. Meditative, pacing, offbeat humor, explosive violence, existential cool. It's got it all. And I thought, yes, that's actually a really good recommendation for Ghost Dog and all the films that Max picked. And I think it's the way that Ghost Dog is an American gangster film interpreting Asian cinema. This is a Japanese film that interprets American gangster film stuff. So I'm just like, really smart. I was jealous. So congratulations. You are the first Employee of the Month. We'll DM you because we're going to give you some stuff. But also, I would love to get you to jump on for a little cameo on the podcast and talk about some interesting stuff together.
Wow.
So that's huge. So that's what I want to do for Employee of the Month as well. So keep on recommending. I would love to get the Employees of the Month onto the show, talk about some stuff together.
Great.
Maybe recommend me a movie and I'll watch it. Something. We'll figure something out. But look for that. That'll probably come out sometime, hopefully, over the summer holidays. Who knows?
Who bloody knows?
But let's get into our episode.
The last video store.
Well, JP, brother, thank you so much for coming into the last video store.
Thanks, Alexis. Thanks for having me.
I've been so excited about getting you to come in. You were on our original list of that compiled of people. I was like, we got to get him to come into the store. We're going to talk about some movies together.
Wow.
So it feels like it's a long time coming getting you on.
I appreciate it.
I want to kick things off, though. Tell me about your favorite video stores.
Wow, that's a great question. I grew up in Camaray in the North Shore, but not as posh as it sounds. We were the one poor family in the hood. But yeah, there was a video store around there, which was, I mean, you know, what can you say? That the good old days of walking in, you didn't know what you wanted to watch. I think that was one of the great things about, and you've probably talked about this endlessly, but you sort of, like now you kind of need to know what you're looking for. But in those days, just walk in and walk around, maybe feel like a horror movie, feel like a comedy, you just go into those sections. You know, I guess it's similar online now, but it was just great, just discovering stuff. So there was a place, I think it was on the main drag there in Camaray, that just had all the old stuff, you know. And back then, of course, it was like, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
And then it was like DVDs, and obviously it all went out the window. Sadly.
I'm glad you use the word discovery and stuff, because I think that the thing that I consider most when I think about you is Tropfest, of course, which I think is such like a true discovery point for Australian cinema of people kind of getting out there for the first time with like their first shorts. And it's been such a discovery point for great Australian artists. It's come back. Can you tell us about the journey of getting Tropfest to come back finally?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we just relaunched after about 6 years. And I mean, what can I say? It's coming back in a big way. Centennial Park, February 22nd, which is a Sunday. We're coming back as not-for-profit, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
So we're sort of formalising. Tropfest I think most people who know it, like it started as an accident, really, of a pretty average short film that I made called Surrey Hills 902 Spring Roll, which gives you a bit of an idea of the quality of the product. But anyway, and it sort of grew from there, and it was very much, I was like the reluctant film festival guy who really didn't want to do it for the first few years. So it's grown to become this bit of a platform for Australian filmmakers and elsewhere. And yeah, after a 6-year hiatus where, COVID happened, but it wasn't just that. There was just the other stuff. We went to Parramatta, which was cool.
Yeah.
We had a 3-year sort of agreement with them. But once that was over, it was like, let's take a breath, see what we want to do next. Next thing you know, 6 years went past, especially with COVID. And then I got a call from the wonderful Brian Brown, who I hope you've had on the show.
Not on this show yet, but
my
he's
God.
been on some other things I've made.
Yeah,
so.
he's legendary. And he said, listen, there's people talking about wanting to bring it back. What are you doing with it? And he introduced me to, I knew Sarah Murdoch sort of socially and Peter Volandis, I didn't know, and Rich Weinberg. So that's the board now, the 5 of us. And we started talking about bringing it back as a not-for-profit, and that's what we've done. So it's the Tropfest Foundation, and it's big. And we're really trying to make it, obviously the festival is the jewel in the crown, but we're really trying to make it a year-round support mechanism for the best Australian storytellers, regardless of financial constraints, because that's always been the number one goal of Tropfest.
What's the kind of community you're hoping to build around the new form of Tropfest?
Well, that's a great question, Alexi, because here's what I don't want to do, and I've said this a few times now. I don't want to go back in a time capsule to the 90s where, my joke was, when I get to this launch, me and Brian Brown can't be the youngest people in the room. Like, that is not what we're doing. We're trying to figure out what Tropfest 2.0 looks like. And so a lot of that obviously is Gen Z, a lot of younger people making films on their video cameras, which has been, on their phones, which has kind of been the way for a long time now anyway. But it's even more, every day the technology gets better. You can make a short film in 24 hours if you want, and it can be great. And it can cost you $5, So we're really just trying to tap into that crowd, but not in a sort of self-conscious way. We're really trying to find the best stories there are. Of course, a lot of the entrants won't be that age. They'll be my age or older or younger or whatever. We're just trying to find the best stories for the Australian people.
And when you say year-long support, what do you mean by that?
Well, that's a great question too. Like
I'm full of great questions today. Good Lord.
Yeah, which is what I was expecting, by the way.
Oh, thank you
Everybody
so much.
told me he's going to have great questions. But seriously, like we have, the festival, we have an educational program that happens in the weekend before it, which is, seminars, talks, masterclasses with filmmakers, everything from AI to editing to, learning. And I've got a couple of ideas for like a Tropfest Outback Cinema.
Cool.
Want to get a truck going.
Fuck yeah.
Out to some of the areas that got hit by floods and fires.
Yeah.
And just put on, because Tropfest is free, that's those two words go, they're synonymous. So put on some free screenings, of all the best finalists. So it's a win-win. The Australian audience gets amazing stories from Australian filmmakers, and we grow our audience for the filmmakers. So everybody wins,
Yeah.
And then the other thing is Trop Junior. So that'll be a year-round thing. So we're sort of like, we've got our eyes fixed on the kind of the main events, if you will, but we're very much and then finally, and not to give too much away, but we're developing a program where some of the finalists get year-round support.
Wow.
For 12 months, where we
patronage, basically.
Yeah. We're sort of like maybe send them to LA.
Cool.
To meet with people, bring some people out from the UK to talk about stories, and sort of like an internship, if you will, of different things. So that's what we're working on.
Well, I think I'm so excited it's coming back. Like truly,
thanks,
I think
man.
it's such a vibrant part of Australian, especially youth Australian film culture. And, it'd be a great thing. I remember going with my friends on like the weekend to go to Tropfest and stuff. It felt like such a, when we were young, it felt like such a great thing to do. So I feel like it's such a great way to access these new filmmakers, like you said, these Gen Z filmmakers that are so tech savvy, but maybe have not had the chance to tell, slightly longer form storytelling compared to what they've been doing on social media.
Absolutely.
So very excited for this, and even more so excited to have one of Australia's great cinemas of soldiers of cinema here with me, going through the video store, picking up some movies.
Trying to figure out who you're talking.
Oh, mate, yes, I'm saluting you.
I'm
It is you
trying to be
here.
humble.
You're too
It's not
humble.
easy.
No, allow the ego to flourish while you're here. Let it burst through. Let it steam out. But I'm going to send you out into the video store, pick up a few movies, and you
Okay.
release 2 weekly titles, all-time favorites, and then come back. We'll talk about them, and then it will be upon me to give you a staff pick recommendation based on your taste.
Okay.
So that might be tough. Sometimes it's tough. We'll see. But head on out and come back. We'll talk about some movies.
Okay. I'll see you in a minute.
New release.
You've got a wonderful new release film here. This is one of my favorite films of the year so far.
Really?
Absolutely love this film. I'm a horror head from way back, and I think this is already been a great year for horror, but this one might be sitting as that crown jewel for me at the moment of the year 2025 in cinema. You've got Zach Cregger's Weapons.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Horror.
Because I'm a bit of a horror head too. I mean, I think as we'll see with the weekly stuff, I kind of have I'm sure you do too, I like pretty eclectic taste.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, especially in a cinema, I kind of want to be scared. I want to be creeped out. Creepy kid movies.
Yeah.
Are kind of fun.
Well, you've made a great creepy kid movie yourself.
I didn't want to say anything, but thank you.
It's coming up. I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just love this film. I love this film because, well, it's a great concept. I mean, it's got a lot, if not everything you want from a, and it's, let's be honest, it's kind of a popcorn movie. It's not high art, I mean, maybe it's gonna get some awards. I don't know, but it's pretty mainstream, I suppose. It's obviously made a lot of money.
I think that's what I appreciate about it as much as well as you did, which is that when I was watching it, very quickly it started to feel like a great basement horror. But also, in terms of this show, very video store favorite feeling, which it felt like discovering like a classic John Carpenter movie for the first time, which is to say, like, it has great thematics, but so much of modern horror has that thematics not just as subtext sitting well below, but as like the uber text sitting above everything. I think this one feels so classic in that regard, where it's just like, you're going to have fun. Maybe there'll be some more things for you to think about, but you'll have to actually think about them rather than them getting thrown at you, obviously.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's got, it's big, it's bold, but it's also like very smart. There's nothing, I never felt like it was talking down to me. Like, I feel like it's a really smart take on an amazing concept. And obviously, and you'll see, performance for me, as much as I'm a director these days, there's really two things that matter. Directing matters, let's just be honest. But performance and writing are really the golden ingredient. And then, of course, a director can come along and totally screw it up. And I think a director can come along and really elevate even great acting and great writing. But I think it's got incredible acting. I think Brolin is incredible in it. And
I think it's a great turn for him. And Julia Garner, I think, incredible performance.
Amazing. Yeah,
But for
amazing.
me, it's also all about the surprise of Amy Madigan. I
didn't know either.
Yeah.
I didn't know she could do that.
I had no idea, because I love her in Streets of Fire, so many classic films. But I think her coming in as this Gladys, I believe the character's name is. And it just feels like, talk about popcorn movie. This is like Halloween ready, costume ready. And I think it's such an effective use of characterization of her, that slow glimpses. We start slowly seeing her. This story unfolds in complex narrative structure in chapters where things get revealed at different times, at different temporal spaces, really.
Yep.
And then I think that character, as it kind of weaves through and becomes more prevalent towards the end, the film starts getting more heightened as well. Like, it already begins in a heightened place, but it gets more heightened until there's this point where the screenplay does something so clever. I think it's a combination
it's hard to talk about for people who haven't seen it.
Exactly. But I would say the delight of this film is that it slowly becomes more absurdist to the point where the climax is like hysterically funny.
Yeah.
After
but
it's
it
been
draws
disturbing.
you in, right? It's like that what's that? The analogy of the boiling frog. Like you sort of, because like you said, it starts very heightened, and then it sort of creeps you further and further towards the edge. But what I love about it, and I think this is the secret ingredient to a lot of films, like it doesn't matter how crazy your idea is or how wacky it is. If you can get good actors to commit, you're kind of halfway there, And she's amazing in it. I mean, they all are.
Yeah.
Some of the kid performances too. And, the whole, like, it's funny, the whole kind of middle of the night thing and kids going into the dark and all that stuff is just so, gives me goosebumps. What is it about kids that are so creepy,
Well, I mean, you made this horror movie that I saw with my mum when it first came out.
Right.
It was one of the first movies that like truly scared me.
Really?
When I was starting to get into horror. It's hide and seek, starting the great Dakota Fanning and the great Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I guess, directing kids in horror? Because I think there's something that it is a bit of a tightrope, but able to unlock stuff with it.
Yeah, well, that was amazing. That was Dakota. She turned 10 on that movie. And now, of course, what is she? She's got to be in her early 30s or something. That's a long time ago. But I remember we celebrated her 10th birthday on that movie. And she was amazing. The thing I think with kids and with Dakota on that is you kind of want to, if you can get them to stop acting. And it didn't take much with Dakota. She was a natural. She knew, it's the classic Marlon Brando thing. Just because they say action doesn't mean you have to do anything, right? That's my mantra with actors is just don't do anything.
Don't force it.
Well, as soon as you start doing stuff, it's not interesting anymore. Because now you're spoon feeding me, and like, what's my role? I can just sit back and watch something else, Whereas if you kind of keep your cards close to your chest, you're sort of drawing me in. So with Dakota, and actually De Niro was incredible because it was my first big movie. I'd done Swim Fan before that, which was really an indie that Fox then bought and released as if it was a big movie, but it really wasn't a big movie. This is my first actual big movie. So I was kind of nervous. It was a big budget, a lot of people around, a lot of producers and whatever. And thank God for De Niro, who was incredible. That's a whole other podcast, but he kind of caught on early, like day one or day two. Like, not that I didn't know what I was doing, but I was a little like, deer in the headlights. And he started, I won't say help, but he started kind of giving me license to just roll the camera and then see what Dakota did.
Experiment with it.
See what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear to God, there were takes in there. I'd get him to do the same line, like once I got comfortable, like 50 times. And he was up for it.
Yeah.
He wanted to play. You would think De Niro wants to just come in and go home and do it once, but no, he was very playful. So to answer your question with her, it was kind of, we tag teamed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's De Niro, and she's Dakota, and she was just an open book and would just roll the camera, and we got that wig, which didn't hurt, because she has naturally blonde hair.
Yeah.
And somehow we figured out, that was my one thing I remember when we cast her, there was a lot of, I wanted to cast her too, who are you going to cast? She's a 10-year-old girl. You're either going to cast an unknown at that time, or you're going to cast Dakota. And of course, we wanted to cast Dakota because she was amazing. But I was also like, I don't think we want to see the same Dakota we've seen in 3-4 other films recently.
Transformation was important.
Yeah. So what else can we do? And that's when we played around the wig. And it's a long time ago. I think we might have given her, what do you call it? Contact lenses with a little color. Maybe. I've done that a few times, so I don't know if it was on that. But just to give her that look.
Yeah.
And once we got that look and then the costumes and off we went. And, for me, and coming back to weapons, a lot of the time, the scariest stuff, ironically, is the stillest, the simplest stuff where you don't give the audience something to grab onto. That's what's scary about it. You're not offering them any kind of, security blanket. You're just saying, hey, I'm just going to roll the camera on this person's face, and it's going to freak you out because you don't really know what's going on. And that's what we tried to do with Dakota on that one, and De Niro for that matter.
What did that teach you about directing? What were the lessons you took to your next work?
Well, it's been a long like I started as an actor. So I don't know, that's a long time ago is really what I'm trying to say. But what can I answer to that is like what it probably taught me, honestly, in this you know, because I'd made movies in Australia don't forget, this is a time when it's film, real film. It's not digital. So you sort of got what they used to call the ratio, you know, 5-1, 10-1, whatever the hell it was. And there was very much rolling the camera was spending money. What it taught me was, no, you know, it taught me a great lesson actually, which is this. Someone's going to light this set for an hour, or 2 hours, or sometimes 3 hours. And then there's going to be pressure on you to get your part done in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And what it taught me with Niro in particular, I'll say Niro, everyone calls him Bob, but I don't want to go the Bob route on here because it's too wanky. But what it taught me with him, with Bob, I'll just say it with Bob.
Yeah, please. We
Yeah.
haven't had, no one's called him Bob or Bobby on this show before.
I can tell you,
can
tell you some great stories about Bob. But what it taught me with him on that was, no, man, he lit it for 2 hours. Let's get this. Now no offense. Now we're going to do the important part.
The work.
Which is make the scene right.
Yeah.
The lighting is incredible. Any DPs out there will know that, and any directors know that. But we got to get the scene to work, not just look beautiful and not just look right, because, of course, being a DP is much more than just making it beautiful. It's got to look right. But, you know, and there's too much pressure sometimes, like, okay, we got to go. Well, I just waited 2 hours. Give me some time to shoot the scene. That's what it taught me. And especially in that movie, because if anyone's seen that movie, it's really a two-hander in a house.
Yeah.
You know, there's not much else to it. It's the performance, that's it.
Weekly.
Well, we've been talking about weapons. I reckon we should head to some classics here. And you picked up some absolute classic films that I'm dying to talk about. Which one do you want to start with? The drama or the crime section as you wandered around?
Why don't we go in order? This
Yeah.
is 67, I believe.
It is. This is picked up from our crime section here. One of the great prison movies of all time. One of the great hangout films, I'd say, as well as the vibe of this. You've picked up, starring Paul Newman, Cool Hand Luke.
Drama.
I mean, what can you say? I've seen this film, and I want to start by saying, too, Alexi, like, when I heard choose two weeklies, I mean, that's hard.
It is hard, yes.
For anybody.
Yeah.
So
the homework is whittling things down in this show.
So, and I love both these films, but I could have picked 20 or 30.
You have to come back.
Oh, please, bring it on. So, but let's talk about Cool Hand Luke. I've watched it 100 times, okay? If not more. I mean, it is a go-to film for me, which is one of the reasons I chose it when you said weekly. I don't know if I watch it weekly, but I watch this film a lot. I will say, and I hope this doesn't sound apologetic, it's unashamedly sort of masculine,
yeah,
which is not super cool right now, and that's fine, but it's just an incredible film. Conrad Hall shot this film.
One of the great cinematographers.
Yeah.
And he shoots it with such warmth. Like, there's always a lovely warm glow to his work. But in particular here, it's that warm glow meets like sweat, grime, the
Brilliant.
shining of like masculine bodies and stuff.
Yeah,
as
and
they're working on the chain gang.
And I'm sure you know this, but this was one of the first times, if not the first time, that people actually embraced the flare on the lens. You know about that. I mean, This was because of the heat on this film. I don't know. I haven't like studied what happened, but from what I do know is that it was one of the first times they said, "Hey, let's just leave that flare. Let's just have the sun in the shot. Why are you trying to?" And so it's a big part of the movie actually, visually, and it's Paul Newman.
Tell me about Paul Newman, this movie.
Well, I mean, first of all, he's just like so unbelievably charismatic. He's so brilliant, but he's more than brilliant. In 2025, this would be a brilliant performance, but the fact that he's doing this in the 60s, when it wasn't really done, that you just, like I was saying before, you just roll the camera and, just because they say action stuff, he's just sitting there and he's drop dead gorgeous, obviously, but it's so much more than that. He's just, it's just an incredible performance. I mean, everything about it is amazing. And, I think at the time in the 60s, it was very much embraced as a film that was like against what was going on. It was the Vietnam War, and he's sort of up against the man, if you will. And there's all the stuff, that classic line, "What we have here is a failure to communicate," all that stuff. I mean, it's just a brilliant movie from start to finish. It's I think it's a bit of a marathon, in a sense, which is one of the things I love about it. It's kind of like in segments almost. It's not like a beginning, middle, and end.
It's languid in like its shape, where, like you said, it's kind of like feels like seasons passing almost.
Seasons passing, and there's sort of chapters, where he escapes, and then he escapes again. There's the whole egg thing, and it's almost Shakespearean, in a way, because at the end, one of the most beautiful things is George, George, the other guy, he won an Oscar for this film.
Oh my God, why can't I remember? Let me look it up. Because is it George Kennedy?
George Kennedy, yes. I'm blanking on his last name, but he won. I believe he won an Oscar for it. But he's so brilliant in that film, and it's just such classical storytelling. They start as these enemies, and then Paul kind of wins him over, Luke wins him over. But the beauty of it, to me, one of the most heartbreaking things in the whole film, not to give it away, but hey, it was the 60s. If you haven't seen it yet, you're a little late, is that he's the guy who ends up getting him killed. You know, he kind of gets duped by the cops, and he's like, oh, and Luke even says, oh, we're even going to get our old bunks back again, and kind of knows he's dead, and then he's dead. Again, sorry if I gave it away.
To me, it's that bleakness that is like a thing that makes this film feel quite unique in history. Because, like you said, it's early 60s, but this feels like such a forerunner for like the American New Wave that's coming at the end of that decade. Especially like the bleakness, the reality of it, the photography of it all feels very fresh for this time. I remember the first time I saw this film, the thing that maybe this will be experienced for many of the listeners of this show as well, here in Australia, is the absolute like earworm surprise of this film, which is a score by the great Lalo Schifrin, who did like many of the great scores, including Mission Impossible. But there's a piece of music in this film during the sequence where they're like laying tar down. And the piece of music is called Tar Sequence on the soundtrack.
Oh, really?
And it is and has been used for decades as the Network 9 news theme in Australia.
Oh my God, yeah, I know exactly the piece you're talking about.
It's got that brassy urgency to it. I think it's been used as a news theme around the entire world,
that
really.
Makes sense, yeah.
But I remember the first time I watched it would have been like, 14 years old or something, and it just been like jolting me
I remember thinking, why'd they take the 9 News theme and put it on this movie? No, it's incredible, and it has those chapters. Remember the mum shows up?
Yeah.
Which is its own little short film. That's the other thing I love about it. You could literally take that mum sequence out. I think she's in one scene.
Yeah.
And lift it out, and it makes me emotional to think about it. And then she dies, and he plays the mouth organ.
Yeah.
And everybody leaves him on. It's just like, it's such a great film, and it's so unpopular to be into like this macho movie right now, but I can't help it. It's a great story, and the performances just make it across the board. And it's also, there's that other scene, the boxing scene, and that's one of the things I love about it. Here's this guy getting his ass handed to him, and he just can't stop. And that's kind of what it's about. And in a way, I can relate to that. Say you mentioned Tropfest. Not that I'm no Cool Hand Luke, trust me. But I sort of watch a scene like that.
Yeah.
Here's a guy on the ground on his knees, and he's not even conscious, and he's still. And the other guy's like twice his size.
Yeah.
And even the other guys. Remember that great scene? And they're like, stay down. It's like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It kind of brings tears to my eyes. Because at first they were like, yeah, let's have a fight. And then it's like, wow, we can't watch this guy get just destroyed anymore.
Yeah.
And then people start turning away. It's a great film.
Well, that's the emotion of masculinity. I think that's why films like this persist, or why they're important when they first come out as well. I think the next film you've got here is, in my opinion, one of the other great explorations of masculinity from America in that new wave period as well. You've got, from the great Robert Benton, Kramer versus Kramer.
Drama.
Well, in a way, these films obviously have similarities, But one other similarity for me is I probably watched them about the same. I got to have watched Kramer vs. Kramer. And I remember showing to my kids when they were little too, which some people might question, hey, let me show you this divorce movie.
Let me show the divorced dad
I'm
movie.
happy to say I'm not divorced.
Do you make French toasts for your kids, though?
I actually do. But I make it a little better than he starts.
Yeah, I think so. Not in a little mug
I love that,
tearing
like,
it up.
squishing it up, and he's like... But listen, I mean, what can you say? There are similarities. Obviously, a similar era. I think this is the early 70s.
I think 78 or 79.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like a decade apart or more.
Yeah.
You know, it goes without saying, same with weapons. I'm always going to come back to performance. I can't help it. It's sort of where I started. And maybe I'm biased, but I do think performances are, with the writing, like I said, are really it. If you can almost get a good actor to do, I won't say anything, but a lot of things. Like, you know, people say read the phone book. If you've got like a really good actor doing that, it's fun to watch. But anyway, you got Dustin Hoffman, you got Meryl Streep, and I think she won her first Oscar.
Yeah, they both won their first Oscar for this film.
Right,
Yeah.
I think it cleaned up at the Oscars.
Yeah.
I think Cool Hand Luke maybe got a lot of nominations, but you know, you've got a movie which is such a and again, like Luke, it's such a transformational story. Here's this guy, he's kind of an asshole, he's kind of an advertising guy, let's be honest, and he's not a great dad, he's not a great husband, and it's a journey, you know. And as a father, it's very touching. But I'm not even going to pretend I got into this film after I had kids. I got into this film. You know, one of my early memories, you mentioned the video store early on. One of my early memories of this film, believe it or not, it's not even of this film, was I was in Mona Vale playing football for whatever reason, and I looked down the road, and this was, you know, in the days of big cinemas, and it said Kramer versus Kramer, and I didn't know what it was. I would have been... What did you just say this was?
I think this is 79, yeah.
Okay, so I'm 14. I was born in 65. But I went to see it. You know, it's something about that name. I'm thinking, what is that name? Kramer. It's just an incredible film. The performance from the kid is amazing. I guess kids are becoming a theme too with weapons and this, not so much Cool Hand Luke.
But I hope there's no kids in Cool Hand Luke.
What's that?
I hope there's no kids in Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah. But, you know, the performance from the kid, who I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know his name. I don't even know what he went on to. I've worked with some of those actors over there where they started, like actually the gentleman from E.T.
Henry Thomas.
I've worked with him as a grown up. So you do, fortunately, working in America, you often come across somebody like that, you know, like a Drew Barrymore or somebody like that. I'm not sure whether, I'm embarrassed to say, I hope he doesn't have a huge career that I don't know about. But I haven't worked with him.
Yeah.
But it's one of the great performances. One of the great performances. And again...
Well, he was in 16 Candles as well.
What's his name?
He's Justin Henry. No, don't.
Wow,
I think you're no faux pas. No faux pas.
Yeah, I'm getting a sinking feeling that I worked with the guy. But anyway,
but tell me about Dustin Hoffman in this movie, because I think it's just like one of his best performances, and I think he's an actor that's capable of transformation. But there's something that's the beauty of this film is it's quite naturalistic and quite real. And like you were saying before, when we think about this movie, I think about all those scenes that take place in this tiny, small space of the kitchen. And it just feels like the camera is rolling on reality.
I love it. That's exactly what it is. If you get the right actors in the right situation, you just roll the camera. I mean, if I have it right, I think he was going through a divorce at the time. And if I also have it right, I think him and Meryl, there was a little... should I put it? You know, a little conflict there.
Yeah.
There's the famous scene where he hits the glass of wine. You remember where she comes back?
Yeah.
And she wants the kid back. That was not scripted. And that was real glass of wine. And normally in a movie, you're always going to have like breakaway glass. It's not especially safe. And that was apparently a moment, a big moment, which you can understand. But so when you say rolling the camera on reality, I think they really were rolling the camera on reality, and it shows. And in a way, as a director, as any kind of storyteller, that's what you want. I think you want to feel like we were talking before about the DeNiro thing and rolling the camera on Dakota. You kind of want to roll, and you're going to get 95% of acting. But if you're lucky, and if you've got a really good editor, and if you're going to spend the time in the editing room later, you can find that other 5%, and that's your movie right there. And I think that's what both these films, but this one in particular, Cool Hand Luke is a different thing, but it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
And I think well worth revisiting. It's one of those great 70s films I don't think gets as much talk as some of the other classics of that time does, because it is so small and so contained and so intimate, but beautiful film. Love this film. Love Robert Benton.
Yeah.
It's now time in the show where I've got to give you a staff pick recommendation.
Okay,
We've
bring
talked
it
about
on.
some great acting, and the films that I've been thinking about all have great acting.
Staff pick.
There's one film that's to me so perfect that it will be crazy if you haven't seen.
Okay.
And it's one I've been thinking about. So I'll ask you first, have you seen Nobody's Fool? Starring Paul Newman, directed by Robert Benton.
No.
Oh my God, well then this is your recommendation of the day then.
Drama.
I think this is from the director of Kramer vs. Kramer, starring Paul Newman in one of his best performances.
Yeah.
This is Nobody's Fool. I'll tell you about this film because it's
Please.
early...
I was hoping the recommendations I hadn't seen.
Oh, I
Because
was so
haven't seen-
surprised you haven't seen
I
this
know the
one.
name very
Yeah.
well. I don't believe I've seen that film.
So this is Nobody's Fool, 1994. It stars Paul Newman. He's kind of like a ne'er-do-well character, but in like the later stage of his life. I'll read you a little bit of the synopsis. A rascally nearing retirement man juggles a workers' compensation suit while secretly working for his nemesis and flirting with his nemesis' younger wife. As his estranged son returns, he faces new family responsibilities while a banker plots to evict him from his home. This is a very warm film, really, really beautiful, very small, intimate, small town story where he's kind of like a local character in this neighborhood that everybody basically knows. And I think the way they put this, his performance here, very naturalistic, that old man era of Newman, where he has that sparkle that I don't think has ever been more effectively utilized, and he communicates so much so effortlessly in this film. It's all about the performance, but even more so than that, because it's that small town, they capture this small town feeling so well by having just a wonderful ensemble of actors around him, some recognizable, some not, but it creates that feeling of everybody in this town knows each other. It's got Bruce Willis in a supporting turn in 1994, which is so bizarre to see because you go to it, you cannot believe that he's there just doing ensemble character actor work in this film.
Was he already somebody at that point? Or
I
was
mean,
he,
Die Hard
maybe it's
came
a
out like
breakthrough?
5-6 years before it, so he's been around.
Which one? Die
Hard,
Hard?
yeah.
Okay.
So he's already a major
So
star
he's
at
maybe
that point.
trying to just get a little credibility. Like, I did this big action thing. Let me do a Paul Newman thing.
I think must have been wanting to work with Paul Newman because it's like a beautiful supporting character turn. But the actor who I really love in this is, do you know the actor Pruitt Taylor Vince?
Yes.
So he is magnificent in this film. Just like alchemy is what he's commanding here. I don't want to go too much into his character because it's so small, but there's something about it and his connection to Paul Newman in this film.
You know
the
I'm
way they
watching
play
this
together.
tonight, right?
I think I cannot believe you don't know this movie.
I mean, I know the name, like I said. I'm
Yeah.
watching this film tonight.
I think it is so up your alley. It's to consider it with Kramer versus Kramer. Obviously, it's the same director,
Yeah.
so it's great performance style. Same star as Cool Hand Luke, so it's interesting to see his take on an older masculinity as well, because it's very somber and soft and creaky, but still have like this glint to it, which I
Yeah.
think just works so well.
I love that. I'm watching it tonight.
Thank God. Yeah,
I'm
good.
totally watching that tonight. Can I throw out a couple
Of
other
course,
names?
please.
Because it's so
I'm
inspiring.
going to pull them off. I'm going to put them on the
No,
pile for
but-
you. You can take them home.
But it's so
Yeah.
inspiring to talk to you about this because this is why it's great what you're doing here. You don't really get to talk deep about films. But as we're talking, I'm thinking Tootsie.
Yeah,
you know?
I love Tootsie.
And I'm thinking, I mean, what else? Like, there's just so many classic films from that period that you could have chosen.
Yeah.
Or even some of the big, I mean, come on, Jaws.
Yeah.
You must have people. Do people? I bet people kind of come along and they don't want to choose the obvious ones, right?
But then sometimes they don't. Like, you know.
Did anyone do Jaws?
We've just had someone, I don't know if which episode will come out first, but someone just picked Jaws.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I really wasn't trying to pick obscure films. I was trying to dig deep and go, well, what am I buying? Oh, another one that I was very close to picking, of course, and you might have had this. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
No one has picked that yet.
Oh my God! See,
Next
I'm
time
like
you
a
come back,
'70s whatever guy. Like that's my stuff.
Come back.
You know?
We'll talk about more of those movies because I had such a good time with you here today.
This was amazing.
Anytime you're around, please come back to the video store
kidding
and
me?
talk about some movies with me because I just loved it. But thank you so much, JP, for coming on the show. Truly, one of Australia's greatest soldiers of cinema. So glad you came here. And so glad you picked up some great movies. You got Cool Hand Luke. You picked up Kramer vs. Kramer. We talked about Weapons. Great new movie. And we didn't reveal almost anything about it, which I think was the biggest challenge we had talking about
But
Weapons.
go see it.
Absolutely go see it.
Go see it in the cinema if you
It
can.
feels
right?
electric in the cinema, that film.
Yeah.
It feels absolutely electric. And you've also got Nobody's Fool. You're going to watch it
I'm
tonight.
watching that tonight in my hotel.
Let me know what you think when you come back. I'm
Big
dying to
time.
hear
I'm
your
going to
thoughts.
get your email address.
Please do. But thank you so much for joining me here in the last video store.
Thanks, Alexia. I really appreciate it.
Put it there.
Thank you.
The last video store.
So that was my chat with John Polson. He picked up some great movies. We
So
talked
good.
Kramer versus Kramer. We talked about Cool Hand Luke. We also talked about Weapons.
One of my favorites of the year. I reckon it might be my favorite of the year. I'm obsessed with it.
You're obsessed with Weapons.
I love it. I love guns. What
And
can I say?
it was hard for us to talk about because like we don't want to spoil anything. Zach Cregger, directed by Zach Cregger. He's from the sketch group Whitest Kids You Know.
I know. It's so weird. I loved it.
Yeah, loved it. And the recommendation from me was Nobody's Fool. You got to watch it. Great movie, Nobody's Fool. Tropfest is back.
Yeah.
John Polson is back with Tropfest. I'm just going to do another little reminder again. December 1st on the Tropfest website is when you can start submitting films. So if you've made one, you can submit it from then. If you haven't made one, make one. You know, you're all soldiers of cinema out there as well. It's not just me and JP. If you're listening to this, you are a soldier of cinema.
And can I ask if we've got any listeners who are in the military?
Yes.
How do you feel about the phrase soldier of cinema, or is it stolen valor? Please get in touch. Or do you love it?
No. We serve. We serve.
We serve
I
the
serve my
trenches.
country, and my country is the movies. Thank you so much for joining us. Submit a film to Tropfest, and if you do, put M and I in the special thanks.
Yes, please.
Would love that. Until next time, I'll see you at the movies
And in the trenches.
and in the trenches alongside all my fallen brothers that love movies.